Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the TEQ Supreme Kai, and we're going to take a look at how good he is in DBZ Dokkan battle after his recent Extreme Z Awakening as a part of the Majin Buu Saga Extreme Z area. So the Supreme Kai looks pretty solid. He's definitely constructed for a Realm of the Gods team with a Realm of the Gods category leader skill of 77% and ki +3, but also his passive in general requires him to mainly be focused on a Realm of the Gods based team. His super attack effect is that he raises superclass allies attack and defense by 30% for one turn, and in terms of his passive he has ki +1 and attack and defense of 30% per Realm of the Gods category ally on the team, which is pretty nice. It means that in total he can get a pretty high level of passive. He can have attack and defense of around 230%, which is pretty good. He then also gets superclass allies, ki +1 and attack and defense of 20%, and he guards all attacks within the same turn as the first attacker in a turn. Plus he recovers 15% HP at the end of the turn in which an attack was received. So this guy looks like a decent unit that can possibly set up for other units on the team. With his ability to boost their attack and defense on his super, his support based abilities, and his potential guard, he could be a very solid unit. He also heals quite a bit of health. In terms of his links are probably the weakest aspect of his kit, with Telekinesis, Solid Support, Cold Judgment, Master of Magic, Godly Power, Supreme Power, and Shattering the Limit. However, overall, he's only really designed for a Realm of the Gods team, and he does have some of the necessary links there, especially if you build it more Beerus and Whis orientated. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to run a God or Realm of the Gods team, and we're going to take a look at how they all come together. Now, an important thing about this build is I went crit. You could theoretically go additional if you're looking for him to be a booster for the rest of the rotation. I don't really see the necessity to do that, because I believe that his best role is actually still as a floating unit, because even though he does have guard on being the first attacker in the turn, guard when you're the first attacker in the turn is not always the most helpful situation, simply due to the fact that basically units can still take damage beforehand. So units can still take damage before they attack, which means he won't have his guard activated, which means the guard is very helpful, but not necessarily the most useful. But we can see he's got decent defense, 141,000, and a 2.3 million attack stat, which is honestly pretty good for a free-to-play unit, not to mention the fact that he's providing support in the form of his super attack and his passive itself. He's really helping out the rest of the category, which is pretty damn good. In terms of his links, Cold Judgment does give him an extra 5% defense by link leveling it to level 10. He gains an additional 5% crit chance from Godly Power. Supreme Power gives him 5% attack and defense, so the Shattering the Limit. Master of Magic reduces enemy defense, and the Telekinesis link also reduces enemy defense. So realistically speaking, I would say your primary links you want to focus on are Shattering the Limit, Supreme Power, and Cold Judgment. If you can get those three, you're pretty set up. But if you can also get Godly Power, you're also pretty good, because it is a 15% attack link, which is pretty good. Pretty solid overall. For me, not too bad a unit, looks pretty decent. We can see here again, he does have a pretty good link partner. He's got 6 links with this Int, Supreme Kai, and Kibito unit. They make a very nice pairing with the ability for this Supreme Kai to raise the other one's defense. They both share Cold Judgment, and of course the other one also raises their defense on super, so it can actually be a pretty strong defensively viable rotation. You can see here, decent damage again, 2.3 million attack stat. We can improve that through links, but if you add everything up all together, it's not going to be a huge amount of attack that he's going to gain through links, but overall still pretty decent option. Nothing too bad or too crazy, but still pretty solid unit overall. And I think he is a nice addition to a very small pool of good Realm of the Gods units. If you look at the Realm of the Gods units, or the free-to-play options I should say, you don't really have too many. But when you have a pretty solid pickup like this Supreme Kai, you start to have some decent options overall. So he's obviously only, I don't really feel the need to test him on other teams realistically, because sticking him on other teams is, with the way his passive is so heavily constructed to rely on, the Realm of the Gods units and having Realm of the Gods category allies, it kind of seems pointless to test it that way. But, he does definitely still benefit from being on that team. But we can see here with a bit of support, 2.6 million, pretty good. Could possibly crack the 3 million mark with a bit of link leveling and some gear. If you were to give him gear, if you were to build him, up with his links, like we said, I think you're getting a solid another 20% attack from his links if you link level him up, plus a 5% crit chance. So, could definitely, improve. Could definitely give you some decent attack stats, close to 3 million. But yeah, basically just one of those things really. Looks pretty solid. I do quite like him. Obviously, they've designed him in a way to benefit the rest of the lineup. But with that being said, I think being able to use him in the first slot is going to be pretty situational. If he's not being attacked beforehand and you have Cold Judgment active, I think you could definitely do so. You could 100% place him into that situation, but outside of that situation, I wouldn't really do it. He's on very limited categories, only on Patara, Realm of the Gods, and Majin Buu Saga, so there's no real loss in him only really benefiting the one team. It doesn't really damage his team construct or how good he is as a unit really, since he's not entirely viable on like 1,000 categories or something. It's not like the rest of the categories are missing out on his kit or anything, because it's only really 2 other teams that aren't able to benefit from him. So still pretty damn solid overall, and I really like what he brings to the table. Yeah, really decent performance from him. I think we've seen some good results. He is really solid on this team, if not a little bit unspectacular, but he is a free-to-play unit, and I think he does the job. I think he's a good super Realm of the Gods team option, and allows you to run some more interesting units like the Supreme Kai and Kibito Kai. They now have a really good free-to-play partner, which kind of benefits them because you can run some interesting combinations in teams. But yeah, we'll take a look at his link set, although honestly speaking, he's not really, his link set's okay. You're going to want to focus on some really pivotal links. Like I said earlier, you're going to want to focus on something like Cold Judgment. Solid Support's a pretty common link. Godly Power will be okay on a Realm of the Gods based team, and Shattering the Limit. If you're going to, for some reason, run him on a Majin Buu Saga team, you would want to focus on Supreme Power, but you can maybe pick out some Realm of the Gods units that do have Supreme Power highlighted as a link. As I mentioned before, the Kibito Kai unit is his best link partner with 6 links. But yeah, he does have pretty decent options across the board. So if we take a look at his links here, we'll start with what I think is most important, is that Cold Judgment link. It's just going to really help his defense get up to a decent standard, really help him to be a unit that is usable on a lot of teams for a lot of the current content in the game. So Cold Judgment, really important. Then you've got Solid Support, pretty decent, or Shattering the Limit. Obviously Shattering the Limit's his only real key link, but being on a Realm of the Gods based team, he doesn't necessarily need to have key links active, because he gains 1 key for every Realm of the Gods category ally. So you can see a couple options here right off the bat. Master Roshi and Tien, the Videl and the Gohan share 4 links with him as well. Problem is these units aren't really on a Realm of the Gods based team. So although there's a lot of options here, realistically we're trying to only pull out the units that are on Realm of the Gods based teams. That's kind of his biggest stickling issue. I think running him at anything less than his max passive is just not something that's beneficial. I think every time you're running less and less units, 2 or 3 Realm of the Gods based units, it's just not going to be enough for for Supreme Kai to really function that well. Now, if we take a look at all of the other options and we remove Shattering the Limit, because it's quite a limiting key link, a lot of summonable units don't necessarily have Shattering the Limit, we can instead focus on some of the other links. Things like Solid Sport, Godly Power, all those sort of things are generally speaking pretty solid avenues with which to look under, because they give him a decent power boost. If we look here, we'll see pretty solid options across the board here. Units like the Int Vados are very good linking partners with him, not to mention, you know, the fact that he can set up for Vados. Vados has evasion as well, which makes him a pretty solid pairing, 3 links. This Whis as well, also another solid pairing, 3 or 4 links here as well. Again, the evasion really helps him out, and he helps them out by giving them back the support and the key, because naturally they'll be missing a key link. The Gowasu and Zamasu unit, very similar situation, high levels of defense between them, and as mentioned before, the F2P Kai unit, very solid unit, 6 links with them, which is very good, pretty much all the major links for both units, and of course they do have a pretty strong connection. When they transform, F2P Kai loses a couple links with them, but again, they still share 4 of the primary links called Judgment, so yeah, that's still pretty solid even if you want to decide to transform them. You're not going to miss out too much across the board. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, pretty limited options, but when you do get him right, he does tend to work really well. So leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or leave a comment and I'll try and get back to you. But stay safe and bye.